And we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Substack. My name is Jenny Eden Berk, and I'm really excited to be here today for whoever's watching. Just a quick note about me. I'm an eating psychology coach and also a culinary nutritionist, and I've worked in this field for over 20 years, first as a clinical health educator and then in my own practice incorporating sensory science, nervous system regulation, body image, and also mindful and intuitive eating practices. And I am so delighted to be here with Dr. Elayne Daniels, and maybe you could just do a quick intro.
Sure. A little context on why this topic is very close to my heart. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been in practice for almost 30 years, and these days I work virtually in Florida and in person in Massachusetts. Most of my work centers on body image, as well as our relationship with food and the inner world of highly sensitive people. I come at all of it from an anti-diet, weight neutral place, meaning the goal is never to shrink yourself or to fix yourself, but to feel more at home in your body and in your life. And I've trained in a handful of approaches that shape how I think, things like ACT, EMDR, intuitive eating. But honestly, the through line is simpler than any of the credentials. It's a belief that eating is never just about food. It's tangled up with how safe we feel. You were talking about nervous system regulation, how much we're taking in from around us, and how much we're managing without anyone noticing. And that's what it's really about. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I everything you said. It's so funny because we have been in each other's orbits for several years, but we've only recently kind of touched base and gotten to know each other, and we have so much in common. It's
personally and professionally. It's amazing.
I know, it's unbelievable. And we both work with highly sensitive people. We both work in the realm of body image and eating, and we're both highly sensitive ourselves. Like we totally get each other. And today, we thought we were talking about what would be really helpful, what would be really useful for people watching today. And the thing that came up for both of us was the challenges of eating out at restaurants or parties or events. Anytime you're around other people and it's incorporating more environmental cues, if you will, it can definitely make it much more difficult for somebody who is highly sensitive or has sensory processing concerns and things like that. So we were like, we have to talk about this, because a lot of the time we may not even be aware that we're struggling in restaurants. And this conversation today may even alert you to the fact that, oh my gosh, that's me. Like I actually need these, because I always feel a little off in restaurants and I didn't know why.
Yeah, and we're so used to feeling the way we feel that we don't necessarily recognize it as extra.
As extra,
right. Or we may label it the way it's been oftentimes labeled in our lives as, there's something wrong with me.
Yes, like totally putting the onus on yourself. And why can't I go to a restaurant like a normal person and not feel overwhelmed or overstimulated?
When the server asks me what I want and I don't know.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Like the decision anxiety on the menu, the lights and the sounds and anything that's going on.
Yeah.
So actually, this is what we're going to get into today. So let's jump right in and talk about, and there's a few people here right now. If you ever have felt kind of overstimulated or stressed out, even at a restaurant or food environment where there's other people,
even a coffee shop.
Yeah. Even a coffee shop. Like maybe you can share in the comments, like what are some of the biggest challenges for you? And we're going to get into it now, and we'll also, we'd love to hear your experiences as well. And I guess I'll just get us started off. Like for me, honestly, this is so silly, but like even waiting for a table stresses me out so much. I don't actually understand why. I think it's the fact that like if I'm hungry, if I even feel like a little bit of hunger, just the idea of waiting sends like panic to my nervous system. Like, okay, I can wait, but my interoception and my mind body connection is so strong. For some people, it's the opposite, but for me, it's so strong that if I feel like a single hunger pain, it's like a calamity to me, and I get worried that I won't be able to wait, wait my turn, and then like also like I'm in that loud environment for longer than I
Yeah.
want.
And there may be close quarters. There may be a lot of people also who are waiting. It may be stuffy. There may not be a lot of airflow. And that's on top of the tendency for HSPs to experience hanger.
Yes.
So it's
totally.
like exponentially excessive. Yeah. Feeling of it's just too much.
Yes. Hanger. And also, like if I'm low blood sugar, like if I start to feel dizzy or something, and I used to be really like steeped in diet culture myself. I was chronic dieter, weight cycler, and the feeling of hunger would also, I would feel shame about it because, I didn't want to feel like I didn't have control over my hunger, and I didn't want other people to know that I was struggling with appetite and hunger, because that would mean like I would order more, I would eat really fast, or things like that, and we'll get into some of the solutions. I'll tell you some things that have helped me, but what other challenges have you noticed, like with your clients or for yourself?
So another thing I've noticed that happens to me, and I've heard often clients talking about this, is picking up the mood in the room, in the restaurant. So maybe a stressed out server, maybe a couple that's tense nearby, just a rushed vibe, tendency to absorb it all, whether or not you want to be absorbing it.
Yes, it's like happens without your consent, and that's very, very difficult to deal with. I remember one time I was at a restaurant outside, like the environment was great, like it was outside, but everyone at the table, it was like a extended family thing, not my family, it was other family, and the tension was so thick that I couldn't relax the entire meal. I could just sense all the stress and tension between people. And not only that, but I also felt like it was my sole responsibility to fix it. And so I'm like making jokes, and I'm like, and this is supposed to be good. And like I'm performing and putting this mask on, probably because of my own discomfort, but also to try to diffuse the situation that I was feeling and experiencing.
So there's that like almost advocacy fatigue, trying to make sure everybody else is okay, and wanting everybody to be happy and enjoying this, completely disregarding one's own experience.
And that's such I think a key piece of this is, HSPs are so, focused on other people's moods and energy, and, and we're always working so hard to temper that and to mitigate that for our own comfort, right? But that we completely forget that our needs are very important too. And it's okay to take care of ourselves in food situations like that too.
Absolutely. Not only is it simply okay,
it's necessary.
It's essential. Yeah. It reminds me also of the kind of social vigilance piece that HSPs often experience, of kind of reading everyone at the table, just tracking people's moods, managing the whole group experience. It's invisible work, and HSPs are often doing it all the time.
Yes, it's so exhausting. And not to mention, like, I can't stand when it's really loud and there's like the tables are close together, and there's like lots and lots of like loud music and bright lights. And I had actually read that a lot of fast food places deliberately keep things loud with like bright colors as a way to help people get in and get out faster, because it's not like this ambiance of like fine dining, and that made a lot of sense to me, because I am, definitely more able and willing to have longer meals if it's like more quiet, there's ambiance, there's candles on the table. It feels more safe and like more comforting.
Yes.
And I also feel like, I don't know if this has come up for you, but I know it's not so much the same anymore, but because I'm vegan, right? I used to be gluten free, and I'm so aware that I'm the annoying person at the table, and I don't want that spotlight on me all the time. Like, oh, okay, she's gonna ask the waiter if there's dairy in that, and okay, this is gonna be annoying, And I think I'm internalizing that as my, I'm not sure people really care that much,
Right.
but for me, I feel like there's always a spotlight on me that I'm different. And this was so true when I was constantly dieting too. It was like I'd almost feel like people were so aware of what I was ordering and what I was doing and what I was eating. And I felt very judged, even if that's not the case.
Right.
I felt very judged about the
Yeah.
choices that I made.
Sure. It's funny, as you were talking, I was reminded of many years ago when I was dating before I got married, a person who wasn't young, and I'm about to tell you why. We were out to dinner and we ordered soup first, and mine arrived warm at best. And I had learned that if what was served wasn't cooked the way I'd like it, I have the right to advocate and ask for it to be heated more. And he was appalled when I did that.
Oh, wow.
And he did me a favor because I realized this isn't going to work. So that was our first and last date.
That's good. Yeah, because you do have to advocate for yourself, and I had to learn that the hard way. It's not easy sometimes because you don't want to be a burden, and you don't want to be putting attention on yourself, and you don't want to inconvenience people, But
right, because you're already, at least I'm speaking for myself, I was already feeling and being told I was annoying my whole life because I'm too sensitive. I can't make a joke, and just get over it. And why do I need to be X, Y, and Z, and all of that? So it's a matter of having internalized that and believing that all that about myself, and in fact having it be something that I was constantly barraged with. These comments.
Right, and it's reinforced it over and over.
Yeah.
So these are some really valid things that we've talked about, and there's probably more too. I've been reading about mirror neurons a lot, and in fact I had a little conversation here on Substack about whether or not highly sensitive people have either more mirror neurons or they're just sort of heightened than other people's. And so for people who don't know, mirror neurons are just like empathy neurons. I guess it's like mirroring and mimicking what other people are doing and sort of shape-shifting and putting on different masks depending on what we're seeing. So how that may show up is one example might be everyone's ordering salad. You don't want to order the fettuccine Alfredo because everyone's ordering salad, right? Or it may be that, like we said earlier, you're mirroring the energy and mood of what's happening in the room, thus affecting your own mood, right?
Right. And then add in the diet culture influence and, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was more challenging.
Definitely. So we have some ideas. So let's get into some solutions here, because we don't want to just leave people with some problems. We get you. We understand your problem now, Tulu. So I would like to just sort of share one quick story. This was in 2014. I was on a cruise with my family. It was a really stressful cruise. We had young kids at the time. And I remember going into the dining room. Whoops, can you see me?
Yep.
My computer just shut down. Hold on. Okay, there we go. We were in the dining room. It was really loud. It was really chaotic. There were snaking lines. I hate lines when you have to go into a buffet and stuff. And there were kids running around. My own kids were running around. I was feeling so stressed. And I remember I was just sitting there eating oatmeal, and I I had this like epiphany moment. Like it was like one of those moments where I was so aware of how I was aware in that moment of how I was feeling and how stressed I was. I'm not always aware. And I was eating like this. I was like, and I'm like, whoa, 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 Jenny, why are you eating so fast? Why are you pounding this oatmeal? And I realized like I am completely stressed by what's going on around me. And so my solution at the time was, you know what? I'm going to take this oatmeal. I'm going to ask my husband to watch the kids, and I'm going back to the cabin. That's one way you can advocate for yourself. And I'm just going to eat this mindfully and slowly. And I have a choice here, and I don't have to be swept up by the environment around me.
Exactly.
One thing that's helped me. Whatever you.
It's like giving yourself permission to pace, whether you're not ready to order yet or notice something like you were just describing. Also, resetting, like your recognition in that moment of like, why am I eating? I'm eating quickly. Why am I doing this? I am so fast. So it could be, therefore, like someone take a trip to the bathroom, or just taking a moment and looking, away from the table at something that's steady. Little nervous system breaks that can add up. And asking for what you need, in a way that is informational, not confrontational, and reframing it that way kind of lowers the cost, right? I know I've been on some cruises too where I try to go to the meal like earlier or later, more so earlier when it's less crowded.
Yeah. That's another way to advocate for yourself, is go at a less crowded, less busy time. And, when I was in my 20s, there was no way I would do that. But I got to be with the in crowd. But now I'm like, hey, 5 o'clock? That sounds good. Let's do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also just like, for me, just because I have eating, I guess, restrictions with being vegan and whatnot, I always look at a menu ahead of time.
Exactly.
And I try to like decide in advance what I'm going to order and like what substitutions I will ask, so that I'm not like, like a deer in the headlights, like, well, what do I order here? And then, depending on if you have sensory, textural or sensory concerns, or perhaps even like, you have your own food allergies or preferences, or your child has ARFID, or there's other reasons, like you can always call in advance and speak to the staff, speak to the chef. I've done that a few times, and they were like, yeah, no problem. Just tell the chef, just tell the server that, the chef can make you whatever, as long as it's vegan or something like that.
And now it's interesting. There's often a disclaimer or something, I'm not sure what it would be called, that says if you have a food allergy or preference, please let us know. Or even sometimes servers are asking.
Yeah, sometimes I've been in some places where they really care, and it's like they really will bend over backwards. And then, I've been at places where they really don't. And so you have to come up with plan B, right? And so like when I travel a lot, for instance, and we don't know, like we went to Greece with my family last year. I had no idea what we were going to be eating. And I did all this research ahead of time of like, what are some of the common vegan Greek traditional foods that you can order. I brought protein bars in my bag just in case, like, because I didn't want to have the low blood sugar and I didn't want to be starving and then start complaining or whatever. So it's a lot of it has to do with like actually planning and thinking in advance about what your needs are. And what prevented me from doing that in the past was like just shame that I was so extra, like that I have these extra needs that other people don't seem to deal with. And that made me feel very like I want to be very independent and I don't want to be a burden, on or annoying. And then realizing like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like you have to really, this is your right to, if you're paying for this food, you have, why not make sure that you're getting what you want?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
It's funny when you were talking about, the importance of calling, of being planful and knowing in advance what the lay of the land might be on the menu, it reminded me of how often I look online at menus and almost memorize them. I become very aware of what
Yeah.
the offerings are. And so I did that, and I went with a friend to a restaurant, and the server wasn't even done talking about the specials, and I had already started to tell her what I wanted. And the person I was with said, "What'd you do? Memorize the menu?" And I was like, "Well, I did a lot of homework. Yeah, without shame. I felt like, yeah, I did what I had to do." And I don't think I would have done that, earlier on in my life. I would have been so embarrassed.
Yeah, so that's a huge win. And like for people listening, like maybe you're even like realizing that's actually me and I don't usually do anything about it. This like could be your permission slip to be like,
Exactly.
this could be a lot easier for you, and you deserve to have a comfortable eating environment, and you have a say in that, like in different ways that you can do things like before, during, and even after. Like if you are overstimulated after eating, or if you're feeling like really drained after an event where you're like managing a million people's feelings and whatever, like I like to sort of just go to a quiet room once I get home. And so, like you said before, like reset, do some breath work, or I sometimes just like to have a dark room with no stimulation. I'm not sleeping or napping, but I'm just like staring at the ceiling or something, and just like it's a total reset.
Right.
What do you do?
I do those kinds of things as well. I'm trying to think of what else to suggest or what else I do to help with afterwards. Maybe a quiet ride home from the restaurant, not having plans for afterwards of some type of activity. And it's like when the check comes, the experience isn't over for HSPs. It's because the nervous system is still settling,
Yeah.
And to, I think most importantly, drop the shoulds, that I should have handled it better. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have ordered so quickly, or I should have ordered the salad like everyone else, dropping the shoulds. Because
there's
so much more going on for me than the other people I'm sitting with who don't have the high sensitivity.
Yeah, to be compassionate with yourself about that, rather than always like embarrassed and ashamed, and like leaning into the solutions piece of it more. I think that's great.
Orphans, you have agency.
Absolutely. And it's that reminded me of one time I was at Chipotle with my family, and we were going to go see a movie right after, and my husband and my kids, they're just like, get out, people. like, okay, here's my burrito, go on. Like, they're like pounding it, they're eating it really fast. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you guys go get your seat? I had never done that before. I was like, I started to eat really fast. And then I was like, wait. This isn't working for me. I don't want to eat fast. I don't want to rush. It's going to cause me to have a stomach ache. I'm not going to enjoy what I'm eating. I'm trying to eat mindfully at all, as often as I can. So I was like, you guys go ahead. I'll meet up with you. And I just had the loveliest time eating like my burrito really slowly. I missed the previews, but who cares, right? About that. And I realized like, I can do this. This, like you said, agency, like it was another one of those aha moments. Like just because they're rushing doesn't mean I have to rush.
Exactly. So empowering. And you
really was
so empowering of it either.
Yeah, because you get like swept up into it. Like, okay, we gotta go fast. We gotta rush over to the movie. And I'm like, my nervous system was like, nope, we're not doing that today. I can't.
Yeah, and that rushing only would dysregulate the nervous system so much more, and it would take that much longer, to reset.
Oh, that's so true. So we have really these are a lot of good solutions, I feel like. And if you're watching this live right now, or if you are watching this on the replay, I know that we would personally love to hear what other challenges that you struggle with, what things have come up for you, and also even like what things have worked for you, because there are a lot of people who could use these types of strategies and solutions. So we'll open it up to the chat now if there are any questions or comments. And as we are doing that, let's just summarize what we've talked about just in terms of sensitive nervous systems, people who are particularly sensitive, sensory sensitive. There may be accommodations that you can ask for. There may be ways that you can accommodate your needs, be it food needs, sensory needs, nervous system, all kinds of things. And if this was the first time that you've heard that, I hope that you got a lot of really good ideas to begin, even if it's just calling the restaurant ahead of time. Maybe you could just try one of these things. And we both have a little extra PDF sort of gift for you that is related to this. Elayne, do you want to talk about what you're offering?
So I have an HSP restaurant survival guide that I'm offering, and will add as as a PDF. I just want to say, as HSPs, we are the people who feel the most. Like, we feel too much. We feel like, we're affected by everything. We're not broken, and we're wired to notice more, right? Like the lighting, the noise, the mood at the next table, as we were talking about, the waiter's tone. So our nervous system is doing heavy lifting that no one else could see. No one else is privy to that.
Yeah.
So once I understood it that way, and I'm hoping that this conversation has helped our listeners sort of recognize that, it stopped looking as much like a flaw and more like it's a feature. And as with everything in life, there are trade-offs, right? There are pros and cons, and this might be, a cost where, restaurants are a place that shows up, but doesn't have to. You can, make it a more pleasant experience for yourself with the planning, with the little nervous system reset ideas that we talked about.
Yeah, those are really like intentional and really effective small things that you can do. I even feel like eating outside is helpful. There's research that HSPs really derive a lot of calm and balance from nature and biophilic design. So even just being around green grass and trees, or being outside and feeling the wind on your skin can mitigate some of that stress that you may be experiencing, that like you said, nobody else sees it. It's like internal labor that drains us. And then everyone's like, why are you so tired? I'm like, all kinds of stuff is going on here that you don't see,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's such a good point.
I think about, there's an invisible menu for HSPs in addition to the actual menu that's what we use to order from. And, all the parts of the experience at a restaurant that other people are not privy to, but that we experience extra.
I love that invisible menu. That's really like a good visual, because it's true. It's really true. You have your physical menu, and then you're going through your menu of like, how am I going to deal with all this stuff?
Exactly. Right.
So I know that your resource is going to be great. And also, Elayne has an article on Substack that's about this topic. So I'll send an email out with this video, and I'll link to that article as well, so people can see that.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Of course. So thank you, all of you, for watching today or watching on the replay. And I have a little gift that I'm going to be sending out to you as well. It's stress eating for sensitive people, some solutions. And I just want to invite everybody who's watching today to join my free community over on Heartbeat. So I do my writing here, but Heartbeat, I have the online community. There's both a free and a paid tier. And I would love to have all of you. You just have to go to, community@JennyEdenBerk.com. And do you have anything that you're offering lately?
Beyond the restaurant guide.
Oh, you have like the Depth Collective, or you have like
right. If subscribers to my Substack would like to join the Depth Collective, All the details are at my Substack newsletter. And other ways to contact me are available too on Substack.
Wonderful. So yeah, you can get all of our links and Facebook and Instagram from our bios. But thank you so much for being here today. And Elayne, thank you so much for doing this with me. This is from one HSP to another. I feel very grounded right now with you.
Yeah, exactly. Namaste.
Namaste. Exactly. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.